So hello everyone, this is the Promotory channel. Today we are going to take apart this engine. This is the UMZ275. The engine was removed from a GAZelle vehicle. This is what it looks like. This is a Ulyanovsky Automobilny Zavod engine, motor plant 402, just to make it clear. But it's an injection type. And this engine is dual fuel. It runs on both gas and gasoline. Now the technical specifications of this engine will appear. This vehicle is from our company and I'll quickly share its background. So this engine has a mileage of just over 200,000 kilometers. It ran on gas and was used in the city. What happened? First, the valve got stuck, so there was no compression in the third cylinder, I think. We replaced the hydraulic lifter. These are hydraulic lifters, and adjusted the valves. I'll show you more later. Despite having hydraulic lifters, the valve still needed adjustment. We adjusted them and the car left. It worked for another few weeks or a month. I can't say exactly. Then the same thing happened again. The valve got stuck again with no compression in the third cylinder. We removed the valve cover and rocker arm shaft. You can see the exhaust valves sticking out higher, about 3 to 5 millimeters. We decided to remove the cylinder head and took it off. I don't have it on hand right now, but later if I find it, I'll either insert some photos or shoot a video so you can understand. I'll just explain it briefly right now. So all the graduation events. The valves sank into the cylinder head, meaning the seat was completely worn out. It didn't fall out, it didn't crumble. It just got deformed from the heat, so to speak. Both the valve and the seat, the valve sank into the seat, and there's almost nothing left of the seat. Foil like this around the edges. So it was decided to buy a new cylinder head. This is a brand new head. It was installed in place. I tightened it and adjusted the valves. From here the drivers assembled everything themselves. They finished assembling, went on the road, and worked just 1 or 2 shifts. They started using oil, meaning they began losing oil, even though before that there was no oil loss. Everywhere was within the normal range. They topped it up a bit, but suddenly the oil began disappearing fast. They started adding 2-3 quarts daily. Well, then their car overheated and they towed it to the garage with a rope. They brought the car in with a rope. So they started figuring out what was wrong. They began to look into it. And basically there was this kind of sludge all over the cooling system. So you can see that our antifreeze mixed with oil, and it turns out that the oil was getting into the antifreeze under pressure. So at first we thought it was the cylinder head, but the head is new. Even though it's not original, we bought it for a little over 20,000. But in any case it's new. So it's this kind of emulsion everywhere. The whole radiator is clogged, all the hoses, and the engine is clogged as well. I poured degrazer in here, let it sit for 2 days, and now I'm going to drain it and see if it cleaned anything off or not. So what did we figure out? That the oil is getting through the heat exchanger. We have a heat exchanger here, and either the radiator itself is letting oil go straight into the antifreeze, or I also have another suspicion. When we unscrewed the filter, this bolt was already loose. So during the last filter change, they must have broken the bolt loose. And right here, where it sits on the engine block, there was this kind of gap. There's no sealing here at all, and this is actually the oil channel. There are 2 options. Either the radiator is the problem, it's letting oil under pressure go straight into the antifreeze, or something was wrong. Or maybe this bolt was installed or tightened incorrectly. Somewhere we didn't get a tight seal, and oil under pressure was also getting into the antifreeze. But in any case, we're not concerned about that anymore. Obviously I'll tighten this bolt. We'll install a new heat exchanger. So the main reason for removing the engine is to flush out these deposits from the engine. And also, as I already mentioned, our engine was overheated. That's why I'll be checking the cylinder head. Even though it's new, it might still need to be machined. We'll also take a look at the pistons. Since we've already removed the engine, we might have to replace the pistons and the bearings. So that's our planned repair. That's the background. Let's start disassembling. I'm removing the alternator now, then the collector fan, and so on. First, I'm disconnecting the gearbox and removing as many attachments as possible. Then we drain my degrazer, which has already been in there for 2 days. Let's see what it's like in there. The consistency, whether it cleaned anything or not, that's it. Well, then we take apart the whole engine, remove the head, open the oil pan, take out the piston and the crankshaft, inspect for defects and order the parts. That's our scope of work. Let's begin. Right? So these hydraulic lifters are also, well, just a regular push rod, and instead of a tip there's a hydraulic lifter here. So why was this done in my opinion? So this is a bi-fuel engine, meaning it runs on both gas and gasoline, and obviously when it runs on gas the exhaust valves tend to overheat. In our case the valves kept damaging the seat and the valve itself was sinking into it, but then it started rising repeatedly, and these hydraulic lifters, they compensate for this gap. Otherwise you would have to adjust it manually. Usually you'd adjust the valves every few months, but hydraulic lifters automatically compensate for this gap, and when things got really bad, place this hydraulic lifter, adjusted the valves again, and it only lasted for about a month before the valve got stuck again. And so my engine is disassembled. Let's sum up the results. There are no issues with the engine. Everything is in excellent condition. It would have kept running, I think, for hundreds of thousands more kilometers. The camshaft bushings, camshaft and lifters are all in excellent condition. The cylinders show no wear and the honing remains visible. The bearings are also in good condition, just normal working condition. There are no scratches or anything like that, so what are we going to do? So our pistons here are quite short, basically like on all modern engines. As you can see, the skirt here is already worn down, it's been eaten away. There are no scratches, but there is even wear. So it's clear they could have lasted a bit longer. But since we've already disassembled the engine, we'll be installing new pistons. So what will we do with this engine? We'll replace the pistons, the bearings, the seals, the gaskets and the heat exchanger at E, which is actually the reason we removed this engine in the first place. I'll disassemble the cylinder head, inspect it and machine it to level the surface since the engine overheated. So in my opinion, the engine could have stayed in place. You could have flushed the cooling system several times right there. For example, with a degreaser or maybe with Fairy or some other clean agent. Just flush it several times with hot water, then with cold water. And the engine would have kept running for a long time. Well, anyway, the decision was made to remove the engine. That's it basically. I'll be wrapping up the engine disassembly series. Next, we'll have the following episode, which will be the assembly of this engine, and I'll try to film the startup in the car. Thanks for watching, good luck, and goodbye.